Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on May 9th. I thought I would take you guys on a vlog with me. I actually already have my coffee made because I set up my coffee maker last night, actually. So I just did it on a time delay, and actually it started at 6:30, but I'm now just getting up at 7 because my alarm went off at 6:30 and then I fell right back asleep. So it's still all good because the heater is on for an hour, so I just gotta get up and gotta get moving. A morning coffee tastes so good. It is so nice. Today, so it looks really overcast. It's been threatening off and on to rain most of this week, and like yesterday it rained for like an hour. That's the thing with like May in Kentucky, is it's actually like relatively rainy, and my god, it does like it give me some like headache problems too, which is just not fun. Like yesterday I had a headache that had started, and then I ate, and then it went away for a bit, but then it started up again. So yeah, this like late springtime in Kentucky is just very interesting, and it's hard to explain, but it gives me the same feelings that like late fall do, with like, even though like it's not crisp air, but there's something about it that just I like really do gravitate towards. It's already been a bit of a productive morning. I had some tests running overnight, and I have downloaded them, and I fixed up the ones that were causing problems, so all of that should be good. I am now about to just read a paper. It's only about 5 pages. It's actually one of the original papers for high entropy alloys. It is called Nanostructured High Entropy Alloys with Multiple Principal Elements, Novel Alloy Design and Concept and Outcomes. So this is by Ye or Wei. I am never fully sure. This was out of, which one? Yes, it was out of Taiwan. It was one of the 3 papers that were published in the year of 2004 that kind of kicked off high entropy alloys, because it was both Brian Cantor at Oxford and then Ye in Taiwan that kind of like pushed this whole field. And what's crazy is they just independently developed it, and both of the publications came out in the same year. But I think I'm going to read this because my advisor and I have been discussing some of the stuff with like specifically in configurational entropy. But yeah, let's continue on working on this. So it's like 8:30, and I've actually been relatively productive. As I already talked about, I was downloading results, got that all done. I finished reading the paper that I had wanted to, as well as getting my dishes cleaned. So I've just been rolling today, which let's see if it keeps up. But I also need to make sure I'm not like pushing myself too much, because I sometimes will be like, oh my gosh, I can do everything, and then just I hit a wall. So I'm gonna try to like pace myself a bit more than I have been already this morning. So I think next I'm just gonna finish setting up some other tests and doing maybe another reading, but from like one of my textbooks, so I can make sure my base understanding of things is solid. So it is like 10 a.m. now. I've been still doing some work. I was taking a teensy bit slower now, just to be like, okay, I had my initial first burst. Now it's just like, okay, get this task done, get that task done, but just like pace yourself. But because I'm kind of taking a break right now, I'm just gonna, as you can see, I'm already dressed. I'm just gonna do all my skincare stuff. So first is literally just washing the face. Kind of showed it. My routine is almost the same as I think one of the other get ready with me videos I'd done back in like January. I've used the Trader Joe's face soap right now because I am just trying to work through what I have, because that is just generally something I've been working on doing, is working with what I already have and then buying as I go. I'm gonna probably actually make a whole video about almost a long-term project plan to get things used up in my house, because the combination of I want to finish in like a year, as well as having now like had to clear out my grandfather's house, that was a lot. Like, it was a lot to go through, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta declutter now. Like, that was the thing also. My mother was like, I'm decluttering. Do you guys want any of these things? If not, they're just gonna go to the library. And I was like, you know what? Like, we trust your judgment on like which of the quilting books would be good to save and which ones would be good to donate. Yeah, and now I've got the Derma E Essentials Radiance Toner with the glycolic acid and Robos. So thought that would be good. Also, this is the one problem with bangs, is that like I always have to effectively reset them after doing anything involving my face, like makeup or skincare or whatever, because then it looks like this, which is, I mean, how I woke up this morning looking. So, woo. Next, I've just got the Niacinamide 10 with, what is it, zinc 1%. This is one of my go-tos for skincare, because again, now it's been like 2 years. I tried Curology, and this was one of the things they had added to my order, or like into that, like, we have designated a specific type of skincare for you. So, not bad. And honestly, when I had done the like Curology, my skin looked pretty good actually, but I was like, you know, it's not worth the like order, so I just kind of like figured out what other things I could buy for myself. The other thing I have is the hyaluronic serum that I picked up from Good Molecule that you guys saw in that weekend vlog. I have been starting to add it to my morning routine, and sometimes my evening routine when I remember it, because sometimes I've gotten so used to just doing immediately the niacinamide and then the retinol, but you don't want to put the retinol, you don't want to put other stuff on after the retinol. That's like the last step of any of the serums. Also, whenever I do these, I've realized how like small and squat my fingers are, because yeah, I've actually got like pretty chunky fingers. They are a size like 7, like my ring finger is like a size 7 3/4. A little bit like weirdly self-conscious. I'm like, I got big wrists and also just very small but squat hands. Next is the azelaic acid in suspension, 10%. Again, other thing, I'm like just killing this one, and it is close to getting killed. It's just like almost, but it just keeps on having a little bit more life left in it, and it's nice, but also a teensy bit annoying. Also, yeah, I'm looking at the screen just to make sure I'm getting everything like rubbed in correctly. Okay, last but not least on the skincare stuff is the combination of the Fourth Ray Beauty Radiance. So Radiant Brightening Eye Cream, and then the Native Brightening Facial Moisturizer. I'll also later on put on my actual sunscreen, which is also from the Native. It's a 30 SPF. This is also 15 SPF. And it is a physical sunscreen. I could not find where my Sunbum is, because I used to have Sunbum that was like mineral, that even though it wasn't officially really supposed to be used for the face, I would always use it for the face and I never had a problem. It smelled good, unlike the sunscreen I put on my arms and everything, because again, also trying to be better about my wearing sunscreen all the time. Even though I am a kid from California that did not wear sunscreen that often. And like, I look at the photos from my senior year for stuff, and oh my gosh, can you see the sunburn I got on senior swim day? Just like my entire back and shoulders were covered as I was just kind of sitting outside in a tank top. And it was bad enough that I actually blistered on one of my shoulders. Only time I've ever blistered due to a sunburn. But yeah, and I actually haven't really had many bad sunburns since. I think I got some summer of 2020, but like, yeah, I haven't really gotten any bad sunburns since then. The other one that was really painful that I've gotten of sunburns was summer of 2016. So this was like right after I'd had the sunburn on my shoulders. I sunburned the fronts of my thighs because I was at my aunt and uncle's. We were all in the pool together, and all of us put on sunscreen because like my cousins and I are all pasty people, and all of us got burned, and I got burned on my fronts of my thighs. So that was just like painful, because then I was having to wear pants because I was traveling and then trying to hug people. I'm like, because I was then going to like this camp sort of thing with a lot of friends from like my internship I did my senior year of high school, and it was like, oh my gosh, giving hugs, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to hug awkwardly because I've got a really bad burn on the front of my thighs. Sorry. So it's like 11:30 right now. I have just been finishing up some tests and like kind of compiling the results and making sure everything's there, doing some quick analysis that I need to do to run more tests for it. And yeah, just this has been stuff I started back, God, in early March, I think, or February actually. No, it was February I'd started this, and I had just started it, but I had never like compiled the rest of it, so I finally am doing that right now. But besides that, I'm about to make lunch. It will probably just be some soup and whatnot, because I need to start like cooking through everything. So I've got the roasted chicken with rice soup, so that'll be my lunch today. So I'm now about to head over to the library because it just felt like a good thing to do. I generally need to get out because I was about to go see a friend because she's in town. She graduated back in September, or finished back in September, and then actually had the graduation and hooding ceremony earlier this week. But yeah, just gonna go to the campus to read a bit because just want to get something done while I wait for things to finish, and then I'll go get the coffee. There's truly like no one here. So campus is still real empty. Got my umbrella with me, and yeah, I think part of the thing is I can smell the humidity. Like it's just kind of humid, but not like crazy. But like just that kind of wetness, if you get what I mean. That's just very much a spring thing here in Kentucky. So yeah, I'm gonna walk over to one of the buildings to meet my friend. The emptiness of campus. Like I've only seen a handful of people all of today. So I just got back from coffee with my friend. It was good to see her because she also was in my research group, but she defended and now actually lives in England working on her postdoc, so that's kind of crazy. And just catching up and also getting advice from her about what needs to be done for grad school to get to my defense. When I get back to my apartment and after I've thought about it a bit more, I'll talk about it because there was a lot of things for me to process in this whole situation. I made my dinner and it's been almost entirely burnt. Partially because I ended up accidentally, when I cleaned out a portion of my fridge, ended up accidentally throwing out the pork chops for HelloFresh this time around instead of like last time when I hadn't used it because I was bad and hadn't been eating up all of the HelloFreshes I had. So I'd had a frozen set in my freezer, so I had to use that, and so it's a little bit charred, so whoops. So I've just got some tests running, and I think tomorrow at some point I will edit this video. I was gonna do TikToks, but I just can't get myself to do it right now. But I have been running tests really after I made dinner. I was finishing up the last of the tests, downloading, checking to make sure nothing was hanging, because this stuff, oftentimes I'll get stuff that hangs because it just is computationally weird. But yeah, I was just happy one of my tests did finish. Actually, a couple of them. What was crazy is one test, I was like, this really shouldn't take as long as it did, but it was taking forever. And then another test that should have been more computationally crazy took less time. But besides that, in talking with my friend, she was actually giving me the advice that like really right now is when I should start working on writing and specifically outlining what I'm going to be writing about. And I think that is a great thing to have somebody else tell me, hey, this is a perfect time, because she did her work in a little bit over 4 years. She was like, I mean, you could officially say probably 4 years exactly, because she defended in September and classes start like usually late August. And she was talking about stuff of, for her, the actual writing process was, gosh, I'm gonna say 0.5 times 10, like 85 hours. Wow, I really could have done that by myself, but I had to write it out first because she talked about like she had been at some event, like at Johnson Center for something, and there was very few things that were like of interest, so she ended up just spending like 8 to 9 hours a day just writing, and I'm assuming this was just weekdays. So it kind of gives me an idea of how I need to start budgeting my time for things. And it was just good to get her advice and also to have her kind of commiserate because she was in the same group as me. So we've gone through similar struggles, and I'm not saying that it's a struggle to be in our research group at all. I love my research group. It's just the struggle of being like a graduate student, and out of anybody, she's the one that understands it the most because we do similar software, and she was the one that so often taught me things, and if I couldn't get a hold of our advisor, I would go to her instead. And I was so like thankful for her to the point where when she was defending, I ended up like effectively catering her defense, which she was like very happy about because she's like, I was not in the headspace to do that, and I'm like, completely understandable. I remember her being very annoyed when she had finished her practice run because our advisor, he's lovely and he is a great orator. However, when it comes to like actually giving critiques on presentations, he is ruthless. And I mean, it's for the best. It means that we are going to bring out our A game. But my God, is it like one of those things that when you are presenting and after you've just finished, he will not sugarcoat things. I, for a 45-minute presentation, ended up with, I think, 3 pages of like bullet points that I needed to fix. And it made my presentation better. I thought I did pretty well on my qualifying exam, but like in the moment, it really irks you because like you, at this point, and it's a problem that we all have, I think, in graduate school, is we don't like to be told that we're wrong. And that happens, and we get defensive, and that's something that like I am trying to work on. But like you get so defensive if you're getting these critiques, even if it's completely constructive, and it is. It takes it takes like an hour or two. I'm not going to say a minute or two. It takes an hour or two to be able to come back and be like, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I am going to implement these critiques. That is something I still work on so often, but I am getting there. I haven't done much since last checking in. It is only now like 10 o'clock. I have been trying to go to bed a bit earlier. As you guys saw, I was getting up earlier. I have already set my coffee maker for 6:30. I'm really trying to be a more productive human being and like taking more of those hours in the morning, because honestly at night I don't utilize those hours, and I don't need to be always using every single hour of the day, but just like it does make me feel better when I've at least used a few more hours in the day. I was just going through all the things that I need to do, and nothing is like super crazy. It's just stuff I've put off, and it's like silly stuff that I've put off. Like I've got an obscene amount of cardboard boxes that I haven't even been like assembled in my car that I just need to get out, and some like sheets that are going to go to my sister that I need to get out of my car. So like just doing that tomorrow. Like I'm like, okay, you know what? Tomorrow morning, that is going to be one of the things you are doing, because I also have a workout tomorrow, so that's going to be later in the evening, and I don't want to be doing all that stuff while like obscenely sweaty, so might as well do it earlier in the morning. But yeah, I feel pretty good about the day, especially being able to see one of my friends, and yeah, just getting an idea of what, from her perspective, what I should be doing next, which I definitely need. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!